Your website is your hub, your studio, your storefront. Websites drive sales, and they're a place to exhibit your work in a more professional way. And most importantly, a website makes it much easier to be found organically in searches. In this video, I'll show you an easy way to build a website using Adobe Portfolio. That's coming up next. Thanks for joining me today. I'm digital artist Aaron Rutten, and it is my mission to help you become a better digital artist. And one of the ways that you can do that is to set up an effective portfolio to show off your work and to drive sales. So I'm going to go ahead and walk you through creating a website using Adobe Portfolio. Adobe Portfolio is an online website building application, and it's included free with the Adobe Creative Cloud subscriptions. To access it, you can go to myportfolio.com. If we look at pricing, you can see that Portfolio is included with the Photoshop Lightroom bundle, which is only $9.99 a month, or you can get it with the full Creative Cloud package, which is $49.99 a month. That's what I have. But if you think about $9.99 a month for web hosting and a website design application, plus Photoshop and Lightroom, this is actually a pretty good deal because I'm paying separately for hosting on GoDaddy. So if you think about it that way, you're getting Photoshop plus you're getting a website. So that might be a good deal for some of you out there. So since I already have Creative Cloud installed, I'm going to go ahead and click on Get Started for free. And then it wants us to choose a layout from below. This will be our portfolio's foundation. So this is just kind of the look or the general arrangement and feel of the website. And we can tweak this as we go along. So there's sawdust here. It's ideal if you don't plan on showcasing too many pages. There's Lena, Andreas, Matthias, Thomas, Lucas, Mercedes, all named after people. Now, I don't really know for sure which one I want, and you might not know either, but you can go ahead and pick one, and then it's easy to change it later. I kind of like Mercedes. It's simple and clean with a large header area that allows you to add a splash of color or not. It's up to you. And for me personally, for a portfolio website, if it's focused primarily on art, then I think simple is better. So let's try this layout. You'll just need to go ahead and sign in. This will take us directly to the editor. We can edit our portfolio or we can take a tour. I'm going to give you the tour, so we'll just skip the tour. I'm going to go to edit your portfolio. So starting out, we have this blank template. Up here at the top, we have my name, and then we have these different tabs where we can go between work and contact. We can edit this later. And then this is the main body of the page. So we could have artwork here or just about anything. There's some controls in a panel over here on the right, and there's controls over here on the left as well. So let's go ahead and start up here at the top. When you hover over each of these different areas, there's usually a little edit button here. If you click on that, then you can get some options for that particular item. Now there's different kinds of items on here, and each of them are going to be editable in different ways. So if I select my name here, and I click on the little icon next to that, then I can go to Customize. If I want to just put in a title or my name here, I can type that in here, and then I can choose different fonts, and you can see it update automatically. If you want it to be bigger or smaller, you can do that as well. If I want my name to be really big, I can make it really big. And then you can change the alignment if you want it to be to the left or to the right or centered. And you can have it linked to a particular page when you click on it. You can also change the color of it and the style, and you can have it roll over to be certain colors too. We could also make it an image. If we go to the image tab here, we'll need to upload an image. I have some different logos here. I'll just select this one. And you can see our logo appears up there at the top. And we can have it roll over to a different logo if we want. We can have it be responsive so that it scales up or down depending on the size of the screen. So let's go ahead and click Done. And I can see I kind of like the way my logo looks centered there, but it's a bit too big. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the logo and customize it. If I look under max width here, while it's set to 0, it's just going to come in at the size of the logo that I uploaded, but I can make it much smaller. For example, we could do 25, or we could do 250, or we could do 175 until we find a number that works. I think 175 looks good. I'll click on Done. Now moving on down beneath that, we have this area with some different tabs for pages. So we'll go ahead and edit that. This is called Navigation. Let's go to Manage Content. Now, right now I have a section for work and for contact. If I don't want this to be called work, then I can click on the edit button and I can edit the gallery title. Let's go ahead and call it artwork so we can be more specific. And we can use this button to make it active or inactive. So we'll go ahead and leave it active for now. And then contact will be the other page that we'll use. If we want to add pages, we can click on the plus button. You can add a page, you can add a Lightroom album, you can add a gallery, you can add a link. Let's go ahead and add a link. I'll go ahead and call this YouTube channel, and then I'll put in the address of my YouTube channel. We can have the window open in a new window, or we can have it open in the same window. I recommend that you select new window so that it doesn't take people away from your website. And now I can have a link up here in my menu. So now let's go ahead and go back, and let's go ahead and edit the navigation again, but this time we will go to Customize. We can reduce the width of the navigation if we want it to be slimmer. We can change the alignment. We can also change how close it is to the top or the bottom if we want to scoot it up or down. And then you can push it around from the bottom, the left, and right, and so on. Now, if you're looking at it on a mobile version, there's going to be a mobile icon, and you can change the color of that too. Over on the left, you can change what information gets displayed. So for example, we could turn the page titles off or gallery titles off and do other kinds of customization here. Let's go ahead and click on Done. If we actually click on one of these options, then it takes us to some more options here. So for page titles, we can change the font if we want that to be something else. We can increase or decrease the size. I don't want that to be so big, so I'll make it maybe 28. Now you'll notice that this only affected contact, and that's because I'm doing page titles and contact as a page, whereas work is a gallery and YouTube channel is a link. So what I need to do then is I want to go to gallery titles, and I want to change that to that same font and put in that same font size for the other things. You could also change the color as well, and you could change the rollover color. You can add styling. I'll go ahead and just go with this and click Done. Now I do notice that for some reason it didn't change my title to work, so maybe I didn't save that. I'll just go back to Manage Content, click next to work here, edit gallery title, and I'll hit Enter just to apply that change, and that's why it didn't save last time. I didn't hit Enter. So now let's go ahead and add some work to one of our pages. You can click on whichever page you want to go to here. So for artwork, I'll make sure I'm clicked on that. And then down here we can add a page. So a page can essentially be our artwork that we're adding. You could also add a Lightroom album if you want to. I'm just going to add a page. I'm going to call this 2017 artwork. You could have a single page with all of your artwork, or you could have different categories. So I'm going to use 2017 artwork. I'm going to send it to the destination of the artwork gallery and create page. So now I can start adding my artwork. I'm going to add a photo grid. I'm going to hold Control and I'm just going to select a few different images here to add to my grid, and I'll click on Open. And there it adds all of my images to a grid, and they're presented very nicely. I really like the way that that looks. Now, if you want to add photos to your grid, what you do is you click on the Edit button, and you go to Edit Grid, and then you can simply add photos. You can also delete images by clicking on the little X. If we want to go ahead and change the title here, we can go to Edit, and we can go to Customize. We can move our page up and down so that we can see behind it here. This is the page header, and we can change the width of that. We can go to the page title, and we can change the font. There's page description, and then we can add custom fields here if we want to as well, and we could have different information for those. You could have a page date if you want a page date, if you're going to do like a blog or something. Let's just go ahead and click Done. Now, if we want to add some more content, we can just hover right here and we get this bar, and this is showing that the content's going to go above, or we could have it go below if we wanted to. Let's have it go above, and we'll insert some text. And you could type in something giving a description of the artwork if you like. So I can say, this is my artwork from 2017. I created it with Corel Painter and a Wacom tablet. And I'll just go ahead and click off of that. That enters the text. If we want to go below it, we can add something. Let's go ahead and add a widget down here by clicking on Embed Media. For example, I could embed a YouTube video. So I'm going to go to this YouTube video here, and I'm going to go to Share, and then Embed. And I want to just select all this code here, copy it, go back to Adobe Portfolio, and under Embed Media, I'll paste it. And now you can see I've embedded this video here, so people can look at my artwork and then they can enjoy the video. If I wanted to add some text under that so people know what that is, I could add a little text box, and I could have it say, watch speed paintings of my art process on YouTube. I'll go ahead and just click off of that to apply it. The other options available are to upload a single image. There's text, which we looked at, and embed, which we looked at. There's also an option to add a Lightroom gallery, or we can add stuff from Behance. This is the photo grid that we already looked at adding, and then we could also add a contact here, and that will add a contact form. Now, I don't want that on this page, so I'll go ahead and just edit and delete that. You can also add content up here in this little menu here. It has all those same functions. And we can also edit this page. For example, we can edit the page info. So we can give it a description. Now, this is important because this information here is all stuff that can show up in a search. So for example, Seattle artist could come up in a search, Aaron Rutten could come up in a search, digital art could come up in a search, Corel Painter, and Wacom tablet could come up in a search. So having this information here in your description is going to improve the likelihood that you'll come up in a search. Now we can change the page date if it's going to have a date. And then here's where we can add information to the custom fields. Here's a place to add keywords as well. And keywords are words and phrases that help with SEO. So I could use some of the stuff from my page description. You can just type in the word or phrase and then hit enter to enter it. So I just added a few words here: Seattle artist, digital art, digital painting, Corel Painter, Wacom tablet. You'd want to do some research and figure out what keywords are going to drive traffic to your content, but you can add up to 10. And then if your page contains adult content, then you'll want to flag it as adult content. Let's go ahead and click done. We can also customize the page background if we want to. So you could actually put in an image, or you could include a background color. So you could do more like a dark gray, which works a little bit better for artwork. We can also edit the page container. If you want to make that slimmer or wider, you can do that. But the page container is basically everything that's holding your gallery here. I'll just leave it as is. We can also make changes globally if we want to make these changes across all pages. We just click on all pages, and then we can change the page container and the page header and so on. Now this text is a little bit hard to read on this color, so I'm going to go ahead and change the page title. We'll click on that. We'll change the color to a light gray. And we'll click on done. And now if we want, we can preview this page to see how it will look in a browser. So here's my page. It loads very nicely. I can hover over my different navigation things here. I can scroll down and check out some of the artwork in the gallery. If I click on this one, it zooms in on it, and I can go left or right to cycle through. If I want to close this, I can just click on the X up here at the top. Now if I squish my browser down, I can simulate how this is going to look on a phone as well, and you can see that it condenses down. Looks very nice because it has a nice responsive fluid layout, so it's going to fit any screen size. So for example, the menu now changes to this little button here, and then we can get to our navigation up here at the top. So this is going to look good on a computer, a tablet, and a phone. That's one of the advantages to making it this way. If you were building a custom website, this kind of effect would be a lot more labor intensive. And then of course we can play the video here as well. So that's looking pretty good. I'll go ahead and maximize this again, and I'm going to go back to editing. Let's go ahead and go back to the artwork page now. Now you have the option of changing the cover image for your gallery, so I'm going to click on the edit button. I'm going to go to edit cover image. I'm going to click here to upload a new cover image, and I'll just select one of the pieces of the artwork from the gallery. You have the option of zooming in and out and cropping it a little bit. You can also drag it to move it around. I think I'll put it right about there. And I'll click on done. And now I have that piece of artwork for that gallery. So now I'm going to go ahead and add one more page here. We'll just do a regular page. I'll just call it 2016 artwork, and I'll create the page. Now, since I have a global page style chosen for the whole website, it's going to start with that global style. And I made customization in the other gallery. For example, I changed the background color. I would have to do that again here, or go back and change the global style on the website. So I'm not going to get too deep into customization because that's something that you can play around with as far as changing the colors and the fonts and all that stuff to suit your taste. I'm just going to focus on how to create the content. So let's go ahead and add another photo grid. Let's upload some files. We'll go ahead and just add these. It adds them to a nice photo grid. You can see this little bar represents the upload. And there we go. We have a gallery. Again, if I wanted to add some text, I could do that. I could embed some widgets if I wanted to do that. But I'm not going to do any of that yet. I will, however, encourage you to go to this page and then edit page info and make sure that you put in information for all of your pages. So there's a description, and then I'll add some keywords. And I just added a few here just for example's sake, but you would want to take your time to add as many keywords as are necessary and write an adequate page description. Again, keep in mind that all of these words and phrases in the page description and the keywords, those are the potential phrases that people will search for when they're looking for your page. All right, so now let's go back to artwork. And now you can see we have our two galleries here. If we wanted to continue adding more galleries, we could do that. Now you might want to change the order of these galleries. So to do that, you want to hover over the edit button for the entire container here. Then we'll go to manage content. And then over here on the left, you can just drag this little button to move one above the other. So we could put 2017 above 2016. So I think that looks pretty good for our gallery. I'm not going to add any more to this example. Let's look down here at the bottom at our footer next, and we'll click on the edit button. And this is just something that's going to show at the bottom of all of your pages. So let's go to customize. Right now it says powered by Adobe Portfolio, but you don't have to keep that there. For example, you could add something like your name and then your copyright info. Go ahead and click done, and you can see that that shows up there at the bottom. If you want it to be a little more noticeable, you can edit the font. So for example, I could have the color be a little bit darker. I think that looks pretty good. So now we're done with this art gallery. Let's move on to the contact page. Let's go ahead and edit the title here. We'll click on the edit button. We'll choose edit page info. I'll say contact Aaron, and we want to give a description to this page too. So I'll just add a few keywords for example's sake, but you want those keywords to relate to the page content. So you wouldn't want to just use the same keywords for every page on your website. We'll go ahead and click done. And now we have a nice title and description here. And then we can edit this form. So right now people can enter their name, their email address, and their message, but we can change that. Let's choose customize. For example, we can add a new field here. We'll just turn it on. And to edit that text, we click on the gear. We choose edit label. You could say website if you want them to be able to add their website to the form. You can add another field here. Let's say, for example, this is a project estimate form, and you're going to get a description from a client, and you'll give them an estimate for a commission or a logo or something. So maybe you would want this text to be your budget or something like that. So now we have some different fields for our form. We can go to form options, and we can choose the email that that form is going to get sent to when it's submitted. We can change the size and width of it. Under form labels, we can choose the font and the colors for the labels. For the fields, we can change that as well. And the submit button, and then the message that the user gets when they submit a message. So for example, if this is an estimate form, I could say, thank you, I've received your info, and I will reply soon with an estimate. We'll go ahead and click on done. And now you can see it's updated our form. So you could put in your name, your email address, your message, your website, your budget, and then that would be a really easy way to get people's information when they want to contact you about doing a commission or a logo or any other kind of project. So that'll do it for this page. And then if we click on YouTube channel in the navigation, all that's going to do is just take us to my YouTube channel. So that's basically it for what you need to add to your website. You can decide if you want to have an artist bio or any other kinds of pages. Maybe you have a page that's about videos, and you can create all kinds of different sections here. I'll let you do that, but this shows you the basics of what you'd want to add if you're an artist, such as your art gallery and your contact page. Well, let's go ahead and wrap up this tutorial by looking at how to add the finishing touches and then publish your website. So over here on the very far left, we have a little gear that says edit your settings. And here's where we can choose some options for our website. So first we have landing page. Landing page is going to be your home page. It's the first page that people are going to see when they go to your website. So if my website's aaronrutten.com, then this is the page that's going to show first. You could make a home page or you could choose a specific page. So I'm just going to have mine go right to the artwork. And then if somebody happens to go to a page that's missing, that's been deleted, then it's going to reroute them to the page that you select here. So we could have it reroute them just to artwork if there's a page that's not found. Moving on to analytics. Google Analytics can help track data on your website. It can show you how many people are visiting your website, from where and what browsers they're using, how long they're on your website, what pages they're looking at, all kinds of stuff. You'll have to paste in your Google Analytics tracking code here, and that's something that you'll have to research a bit on your own to figure out how to do it. But there's a little message here that'll help you with that. Moving on to domain name. Here's where we can choose the domain name or the title of our website. So if I want to be aaronrutten@myportfolio.com, that's what I'll put in here. You can only change your portfolio URL 5 times. So I recommend trying to think about it and get it right the first time. When in doubt, you could use your name. However, if your name is really long or really hard to spell or really common, then that might not be an option. So just think about that and try to make it as short and easy as possible. Now you do have the option of entering your own custom domain. So I could enter aaronrutten.com here. However, you have to own the domain and you have to purchase the domain name. And so this would be an option if you already own a website. If you don't already own a website, then you want to go with the first option here. Next, we'll go to search optimization. Search optimization is what helps a website like Google find your website. And if your page is not search engine optimized, then Google's not going to find it. No one's going to find your website unless you link directly to it. So here's where we want to accurately describe what our website is. My website title is Aaron Rutten, but I want to be more specific. I could call it Aaron Rutten, Seattle Digital Artist. That way, if people are searching for Seattle artists on Google, then there's a chance that my website might come up in a search. Now, the more you say digital artist or digital art or digital painting on your website in all the different places where you can include it on the text of the page and the page descriptions and so on, that's going to make it more and more likely that you're going to rank higher on Google for that particular search phrase. Next, we'll add a meta description, and this is a description that's not necessarily going to show up on your website, but it'll show up in a Google search. You might notice when you do a search, you'll have the title of the page, and then it'll say a bit about the page underneath that. That's kind of what this is doing here. So for example, I could say Aaron Rutten is a Seattle artist and YouTube creator who specializes in making digital paintings with Corel Painter and a Wacom Cintiq QHD tablet. Check out my art gallery and hire me for commissions. So this gives people an idea before they even click on your website of who you are, what your website's about, and what they're going to see on their website or what they can do. So they can check out my art gallery and they can hire me for commissions. But on top of that, Google can also see all of these words, and Google will know that my website is about art, and it's about being a YouTube creator, and it's about Corel Painter, and it's about Cintiqs. And so it's going to rank my website accordingly based on what people search for. If somebody searches for digital art, my website might come up. If somebody searches for Corel Painter, my website might come up. If I don't put this information in here, then there's a good chance that my website won't come up when people search for those phrases. So this seems kind of silly, but it's actually very important. It's almost more important than the artwork you put on your website, because if people can't find your artwork, they're not going to see it. And then we want to add some meta tags here. Here's where you can be a bit more broad and you can cover all of the material on your website. So I have art gallery. Just think about what people would search for if they were going to try to find your website. So I specialize in Corel Painter. We know people are going to look for that. Landscape painting I do a lot of. People might find me that way. Art tutorials, maybe specifically digital art tutorials. And you can add quite a few tags here, but you want to make sure that they do relate to your content and that they're specific enough. I can put in tags like art, but that's not specific enough. I do digital art and specifically digital art with Corel Painter, so it makes more sense to be specific than it does to be vague. Now this is very important. We want to make sure that we allow search engines to index your site. Indexing means that Google is going to go to your website, look at it, see what it has on it, and then rank it. So you want to make sure that that's checked. However, if you want your website to be private, you don't want people to be able to find it in a search, then you'll want to uncheck that. And then automatically submit site updates to search engines. This is kind of optional. It's important to check it because if you were to make changes to your text or your description or images or things like that, then Google needs to recrawl or re-index your website. And so that's what this would be doing here automatically. Otherwise, when you add information, it might not get indexed, and so it might not affect your search engine optimization. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that checked. Next, let's go to favicon. Favicon is a little icon that appears up in the top of the browser. You can see that Portfolio has a favicon and YouTube has a favicon here. So you could upload that image if you want. So I have one here that's a PNG file. It's 32 by 32 pixels. And you can see a preview of how it's going to appear. So I like the way that looks. Next, let's go to web clip icon. So this is kind of cool. This is a feature that'll let visitors save your website to their mobile home screens kind of as an app. So you could add an image for that. I'm just going to skip over that for now. I'm not going to do that. Let's go to site options. If you don't want people to right-click and download your images, disable right-click. I recommend doing that. That's a good idea. You can play with these options here if you want there to be animations between your pages. If you want to know what it's going to do, you can hover on the little icon here. I'll let you decide what to do for that. And then you can enable extended character support for Typekit fonts. We won't worry about that. Typekit is a free font library where you can add fonts to your computer. Next, we'll look at Lightbox for images. This just brings up a lightbox when you're looking at images. You can feel free to experiment with this. Let's go to password protection. And here's where you have the option of making your website accessible by password only. I'm just going to leave mine public because I want people to easily be able to find my work who don't know who I am. But if you had like a membership site or something like that, then you could password protect it. Let's go to cookie banner. Now, depending on where you live, there may be some rules about having a website that say that you need to let people know that cookies are going to track what they do on your website. You may need to enable or disable this, but I'll leave that up to you. Let's go to restore website styles. And this gives us an option once we've published our website to restore the website style. We're not going to worry about that right now. If we wanted to unpublish our portfolio, we could do that here. And then finally, there's your account, and that'll let you manage your account. So let's go ahead and click done now that we're done with that. We'll take one final look at our website and make sure that it looks the way we want it, because you're not going to want to publish it until you're ready for people to be able to see it. So if you're still working on it, just leave it unpublished until you're done. But I think this will work for my very, very, very basic website. I haven't taken any time to really go in and like polish all the colors and add all of my artwork. Obviously, you would want to take the time to do that, but I don't want to make this tutorial too long. So I'm going to call this a finished website. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on Publish Site. If you wanted to automatically add this artwork to Behance, which is a portfolio website that's geared more towards professional artists who are going to be selling their work, then you could automatically upload it. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck these because I don't want to share it to Behance. But our website is now live. So I can actually go to aaronrutten.myportfolio.com, And there's my website. You can go to this website right now and you can check it out. So for example, I can click on my gallery here. I can view some artwork. There's my bubble. There's my apple. And if I try to right click on it, nothing happens. I can't right click on it and download it. However, people can do a screen capture and still get your artwork. So what I recommend doing is only uploading very small images of your artwork, because if people can download the whole full-size thing, then they can steal it and they can use it to sell on their own and do things with it that maybe you're not comfortable with. If you want to know more about protecting your artwork, I'll put a link down in the video description with some videos you can check out. I'll go ahead and just close out the gallery with the X up here at the top. Let's check out the contact page. Here's our contact form. Let's go ahead and test our form. So I'll just put in some contact info. I'll click on submit. And then it says, thank you. I guess I forgot to hit enter when I updated my message here that I created earlier. And now if I go to my email, you can see that I got this email from Adobe Portfolio contact form. And then it's saying, here's the information that was included in that form. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you can change the theme of your website. That's going to change the entire look of the layout. So if I go to switch layouts, then I can choose a different layout here. That's going to drastically change how my website looks. So for example, I could choose this one here, and then it's going to keep all of my same content. It's just going to arrange it in a different way. So you can see that my logo's up here, my links are over here, and then it says, hi, I'm Aaron Rutten, scroll down to see more. And then you scroll down and then there's my galleries. And then you can see if I go to each individual subpage, those are all styled in a different way. If I don't like the way that looks, I can try a different option here. For example, we could try sawdust. So you can feel free to experiment with what works best for you. I kind of like the one that I had before. Which one was that? That was a Mercedes. So I can go to continue editing and I can continue with that customization that I had earlier, or I can restore the default layout. I don't like that visual inconsistency that I created when I was demonstrating, so I'm just going to go ahead and restore the default layout. And then I will take a little bit of time to finish up this website so that when you go visit it, it looks like a complete website, but I'm not going to make you sit through me doing that. All right, so I've taken a bit of time to customize my website and fill in all of the remaining content. So I now have an artist bio page, which is simply just an image that I added and then a paragraph of text. If I want to go in and edit this text, I can simply highlight the text and then I get some options for formatting and fonts, font size, color, all that stuff. Then you can see I've added in all of my image galleries here. So for example, if we go to 2013 artwork, then you can see all of my artwork for that year. We already know what the contact page looks like, so we're not going to go there, but let's go ahead and go to manage content over here on the left. And you can see here are all of those different pages I created within my artwork navigation. There's also an artist bio link, contact Aaron, YouTube channel. As I showed you earlier, you can rearrange these to put these in any order that you want. You can even take them and you can make them their own navigation. If I just drag it out of the group, now it's its own link here in the navigation, or I can put it back in artwork and nest it in there. So you could kind of think of these links as folders, and then within each folder you can have other pages or other groups of pages. Another thing that might be helpful when you're creating your art galleries is to click on the little gear, and you can duplicate a gallery once you've got it set up and styled and everything like that. Then you can just duplicate it and then just add in the artwork. You can also add passwords for individual pages if you like. So if you just want one of the pages on your website to be private, you can do that. And if you want to get a little extra exposure for your work, you can also share it on Behance. So for example, I shared a couple of folders of images. I'll just go to Behance. And now people can view my artwork here as well. So once I've made some changes to my website, when I'm ready to upload those, I'll just click on Update Live Site, and that will make those changes live. Now if I go to view my site is online. I have all of my pages, all of my art gallery, and everything set up. So when you or anyone else goes to check this out, it's going to look like a finished website. So as I mentioned earlier, this is just kind of plain. I did this for demonstration's sake. I'm not going to use this as my website. I already have a custom website built at aaronrutten.com. But hopefully this gives you an idea of how you can quickly and easily set up a website. And if you want to take the time to customize all the colors and fonts and all that stuff to make it look the way that you want, feel free to do that. If you don't already have the Adobe Creative Cloud, there's a link down in the video description where you can purchase it and get free access to Adobe Portfolio. And if this is your first time on my channel, I'd love to have you subscribe because I have a lot more digital art tutorials for artists like you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.